Rick Revel Mr. History, brought to you in part by Dixie Gun Works in Union City, Tennessee.
Then a movement in the woods. The sun hadn't come up yet. It was hard to make out what I'd seen at first. There he was, Bigfoot, standing no more than 100 yards from my blind. I began to shake all over. I could barely keep hold of my camera. He was awesome. Then, behind me, another one, smaller, possibly younger. How many of them were there? Was I surrounded? They were the most extraordinary creatures I'd ever seen. I now knew why the Eskimos called Bigfoot the king of the animals.
The name Sasquatch, or better known to most as Bigfoot, has captured the imagination of America for many years. To some, Bigfoot is no more than a mythical creature who comes from the minds of creative writers. For those who call themselves believers, Bigfoot is an elusive animal that roams through the woods and is waiting to be spotted and captured on video. Regardless of what you think, this mysterious hairy creature has a long history that traces back way before the first Europeans set foot on this continent. We start off today's journey by going to the place where the first account of Bigfoot was written, on Christmas Day, 1721, by French explorer Pierre de Chalevoix. The Natchez Indians lived near the Mississippi River on this location, what is now known as present-day Natchez, Mississippi. It is said by local historians they were a peaceful tribe, but it's also said that they did conquer their next-door neighbors and made slaves out of them. When the French came calling, coming up from the Gulf of Mexico, coming up through this area, a battle sprung. And there was a fight between the French and the Natchez Indians. Just previous to that, right before the battle takes place, a Jesuit priest came here to spread Christianity to the Natchez Indians. While he was visiting, it is said that a hairy creature showed up in the dead of the night, and that's according to the memoirs of the Jesuit priest. Now the question is, what was that hairy creature? Was it Bigfoot? Some think that it might be Bigfoot. On this episode of History Highway, we're going to explore those possibilities and the history of Bigfoot. One, two, three. We're gonna drive in every day, and somewhere along the way, there's a road sign with a story from the past. History is everywhere, and I'm gonna take you there. So buckle up tight, we're going there real fast. So take a ride down the history highway. We're headed right to the days of old. So take a ride down the history highway. I got the pedal to the metal and I'm letting it shake you home. It doesn't matter if you're a reenactor who loves the smell of black powder in the morning on the battlefield, or a collector who admires the craftsmanship of a well-made weapon of old. Dixie Gun Works has a Pedersoli just for you. And not only does Dixie Gun Works have a warehouse full of Pedersoli reproduction firearms, they have an incredible collection of antique firearms. Inside the pages of their huge catalog, you will find gun parts, shooting accessories, reenactor clothing, camping supplies, and even some big guns if you like to burn a lot of powder. Dixie Gun Works is located in Union City, Tennessee. But for your convenience, visit our online store at www.dixiegunworks.com or call 1-800-238-6785. From a historical perspective, Bigfoot sightings are deeply ingrained in American culture. So much so, it has become an annual celebration in Natchez, Mississippi, to commemorate the first written account by Pierre de Chalaveau. The brainchild of two radio personalities, Brandon McCrane and Jimmy Allgood, the event has generated much interest from regional news outlets. Titled the Bigfoot Birthday Bash, this November's shindig has become a grand success. Bigfoot believers from all across the globe come to this Mississippi River town to celebrate the occasion. Even some, who claim they have seen the hairy creature, attend the event so they can tell their personal stories. With so many sightings taking place in the United States over the years, Bigfoot celebrations have popped up from coast to coast. This leads us to a very important question. If the first written account took place in Natchez, Mississippi, how many more were documented afterwards? The exact number is not available, but here are a few examples. Indigenous tribes all across America reported sightings of hairy man-like creatures. Petroglyphs at a site known as Painted Rock shows what possibly could be a whole family of shaggy beings. The crude artwork is estimated to be over 1,000 years old, which tells us that Native Americans have possibly coexisted with man-like creatures many years before the first Europeans arrived. Although my research continues, the gap between the first recorded sighting in 1721 and the next in 1811 is very wide. While on an expedition, British explorer David Thompson found what is referred to as Sasquatch footprints, and they were discovered in the wilderness of what would eventually become known as Washington State. In October of 1870, a lone hunter deep in the woods of the Diablo mountain range claims to have run across a gorilla-like wild man. Reported first in the Antioch Ledger, newspapers like the Titusville Morning Herald reprinted the story, and the legend began to grow. Back in Washington State, near Mount St. Helens, 5 gold prospectors in 1921 claimed to have had a violent encounter with some gorilla men. Discredited by the U.S. Forest Rangers, the story should have vanished, but public interest kept it alive. Believe it or not, in Henry County, Tennessee, where I live, there is a written account of a hairy creature that made an appearance in 1835. While I was a guest on the Paris Paranormal Show, I had an opportunity to speak on the subject. And I kept finding this story about this David Patton, and he had this interesting story, and I'll kind of give you his account. He was headed back from Benton County. Supposedly he had been at a church service in that area. He was staying with a man by the name of Abraham
Smoot?
Smoot, yeah. Abraham O. Smoot.
Oh, Smoot.
And Abraham Smoot actually had a residence set up there, and he did the memoirs. It's in his memoirs of this recollection. So when David Patton arrives at his house, he tells the story, and Abraham Smoot, he records it. And this is according to what Mr. Smoot wrote in reference to what Reverend Patton was to see that evening on his way back. He said, "I suddenly noticed a very strange personage walking beside me for about 2 miles. His head was about even with my shoulders as I sat in my saddle."
Oh, wow, that's high. He was huge.
He was riding his horse. Mr. Patton.
So that's
Reverend
like
Patton's
a
riding his horse,
12 foot.
and this creature walks beside him and looks him eye to eye.
Oh my goodness.
And he said he wore no clothing. He was covered with hair. His skin was very dark. And he said he had no home. He said he was a wanderer of the earth. He said that he was
Wow.
very miserable,
Yikes.
and he earnestly sought death because he was a lone man. But he could not die. His mission was to destroy the souls of men. And David Patton took this as him charging forward, moving forward, that this was something he's just going to have to face. Later on in some of his memoirs, he talks about all the experiences he has, that he felt that this was a moment as a challenge, that no matter what he has to face, his ministry must go forward.
Yeah.
Right.
That's how he was looking at it.
Right.
As explanation began to filter through who was this man, it is also said that he called his name out, that I am Cain.
Ah, he called himself Cain,
And so
this big hairy man.
So Patton at this time begins to question, look back at the Bible,
Cain and Abel.
and he finds
Right.
that Cain was, once he killed his brother, what happened? He was cast out.
He was cast out.
And what was his body description? He was
A hairy man.
A hairy
He
man.
was very hairy, wasn't
That's
he?
Wow.
biblical.
He was very hairy.
That's why so many
So we
people
could
talk about
actually-
the connection of
Yeah.
Bigfoot in the Bible.
Now,
Yeah.
is this connection, Cain and Bigfoot? The Mormon Church is always asked, is this doctrine? Is this something that the Mormon Church recognizes as part of their doctrine? That's a no.
Yeah, probably not. yeah.
That's a no. But is it in their archives? Yes.
Oh, okay.
It's in their archives.
So it's
And
documented.
there's multiple incidents.
Uh-huh.
Not only Patton, but even Wesley, which is
His son.
Joseph Smith.
Oh, yeah, Joseph.
Joseph Smith was a prophet of the church.
Mm-hmm.
His son Wesley Smith was in Hawaii on a mission trip. This is before Hawaii was a vacation place. So it was really
I'm sure.
a mission field at the time. He wasn't there for the fun of it. It was really a mission field because they would hand you your head back, and it was kind of not a nice place. The Polynesians would mess you up if you didn't treat them right. But anyway, he said a man came through the door. He was tall enough that he had to stoop to enter. Now, this is Wesley Smith describing. His eyes were protruding, and he looked very wild, had long fingernails that were very thick. He presented a rather unkempt appearance and wore no clothing at all. Then suddenly appeared in his right hand a light that was the size of a dagger. A voice said, "This is your priesthood." He commanded the person in the name of Lord Jesus to depart. This is Wesley speaking back to the creature. He wanted this creature to depart. Immediately the light appeared, the person stopped, or disappeared, the person stopped when he was commanded to leave, and he backed out the doorway. So this is the account of Wesley Smith talking to his father, and it's written down, and this is part of things that are in the archives of the Mormon
You can't
Church.
make that stuff up.
No.
And why would they?
Sure.
Yeah,
And a
very-
lot of this,
very crazy.
And a lot of the early on in the church, what they were trying to do, as it's explained to me by some of the Latter-day Saints writing, they tried to explain it as, yes, there's multiple myths, legends, and things that took place, but it was the clergy trying to show that they did face evil, so they were using Cain or this creature as something evil. This is how they're looking at it, that they had to overcome in
Yeah.
their ministry. So
Right.
that seems to be
Yeah.
kind of the sight or the vision that a lot of them use when they use Cain. And Cain's name pops up in about 4 or 5 other accounts
Wow.
by other individuals that say that they had an encounter also.
Yeah.
That's
So-
very interesting.
Was it really Cain? Was it more of the Sasquatch Bigfoot creature that we envision? Are they the same? The war between the states was the most devastating period in American history without a doubt. And during the Reconstruction years that followed, even more senseless pain and suffering was inflicted upon the South. From the pens of the Kennedy twins, who authored The South Was Right, comes a new book titled Reconstruction: Destroying a Republic and Creating an Empire. Within the cover of this 550-page masterpiece are 32 chapters with over 1,200 footnotes of documentation proving that 15 southern states were forced into a torture chamber known as Reconstruction. Existing to this very day, modern-era Reconstruction continues to affect everyone, regardless of the color of their skin, in one way or the other. To get your copy of this must-read book, go to www.kennedytwins.com. That's www.kennedytwins.com.
Looking for a place to go? The Alabama Music Hall of Fame should be the next place on your bucket list. From the Swampers to Nat King Cole. From country music to the blues. There are music legends everywhere. The Alabama Music Hall of Fame is at 617 Highway 72 West, Tuscumbia, Alabama. The Alabama Music Hall of Fame, where the legends live.
Dear friends, as an author and living historian, I travel this great country, and every time I see a church steeple and see the cross, I'm reminded that this nation was founded on strong, firm Christian principles. I've written a series of books, this one being In My Father's House, and they are available at Amazon.com. David Chaltis.
Get your copy today at Amazon.com. We're here today in Chapel Hill, Tennessee at the Forest Boyhood Home. And I'm here with my good friend Gene Andrews and Mr. Rich Garcia. And we would like to invite you to come see this beautiful historic place and walk back in time. Starting out as a private and making his way to Lieutenant General, the tactics of Nathan Bedford Forrest are studied in military academies around the world. Come to Chapel Hill, Tennessee to see his boyhood home and take a walk back in time.
Well, it all began for me in March of 1957 when I was hunting in Mason County, Washington. I saw a creature there, came face to face with it. The most man-like looking gorilla I'd ever seen. This is how I described it because I didn't know. I'd never heard of Bigfoot, never heard of Sasquatch, or the Omaha, or the Yeti. I had never heard of any of that. And all of a sudden, I came face to face with this creature, about 40 yards away, I guess he was. And he had the most knowing look on his face. His eyes. I remember the eyes, I think, more than anything else. And then I discovered, much to my surprise and shock and dismay, when I tried to report it, it was treated as though it was a hoax, as if it were a joke. This creature does exist. It's here. It's all around us. We can learn from it. And yet modern science has turned its back on it. They don't want to know about it.
In the documentary In Search of Bigfoot, Robert Morgan and his team embark on a journey to track down the elusive bipedal. Like so many who claim to have seen the animal, they all desire validation for their encounter. Without a doubt, seeing is believing for most of us. Skepticism of people like Robert Morgan is easy to understand, especially when the majority of the population have had zero encounters with Bigfoot. In my persistence to find the truth, I keep digging into newspaper archives to try and give some type of historical reference to the subject. Thus far, the oldest newspaper article on Bigfoot I can find was printed on September 16, 1818 in the Long Island Star in Brooklyn, New York. The account speaks of a wild man of the woods and describes the creature as being hairy and having a foot with a narrow heel and spreading at the toes. In the May 30th, 1851 edition of the Weekly Arkansas Gazette, there's another article about a wild man of the woods. Not only is he described as hairy, his footprints measured 13 inches each. 1 year later, in May of 1852, another Arkansas newspaper reported of a wild man spotted by two hunters. They said the creature was over 7 feet tall and had black hair interspersed with gray. Jumping forward to August 3, 1895, the Cincinnati Enquirer reports about a wild man of the Hondo Mountain Range in the great state of Texas. Calling it a monster, the witness said the naked creature was wielding a club that measured up to 5 to 6 feet in length. During that same year, in Winstead, Connecticut, the Boston Post reports that a stagecoach driver spotted a wild man who was eating onions and jumping from tree to tree. They even included a sketch of the hairy being. And if you ever wonder where the name Bigfoot originated, it came from a newspaper article in the Humboldt Standard in Eureka, California. Published on October 15, 1958, the headline read, "Eyewitnesses See Bigfoot." The picture in the article shows a cast of a 17-inch footprint that was discovered by these men. My good friend Kevin Keel, who produces the Paris Paranormal Show, took time recently to show me his Bigfoot casting and to share a story or two. So where did the casting come from? What period of your life?
After we met George McGee, my buddy, and Tim, I decided to start another group.
Okay.
We called it the FBI, which is Florida Bigfoot Investigators.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
It's still around. It's still
good
around.
anagram. I like that.
We still have a Facebook page, and we got a lot of like-minded individuals in Florida together, and we'd go out and do camping expeditions in the Green Swamp and swamps all around Central Florida.
Sure.
And let's see. This was just before that interview that I was talking about with Tim. We had him scheduled. I said, well, let's just go out to the Green Swamp. I think this is, from watching Tim's videos, I think this is where he went, or this area is where he goes. I just watched all his videos, and I kind of put two and two together. So George and I went out there, and I said, looking around. I'm like, man, it'd be great if we could find some footprints. And George looks down and he goes, you mean like this? And it was a trackway in the swamp, there were so many mosquitoes I had to have the handkerchief over the mouth, so I couldn't breathe them all in. Snakes, it was just horrendous. But in there was man-size, woman-size, and child-size prints, just this long trackway.
Right.
I'm like, oh my gosh, look what we found.
Wow.
So that's where we casted that.
Very good.
And that's got to be about a size 14, and I'm a 12. It's bigger than me.
It's big. It's wide. It's a wide foot.
And some of the other pictures that we have on the website, they don't look human. But that one looks kind of humanish. But Bigfoot has a lot of different types of footprints. From
Yeah, from what all the different castings I've seen, they vary. So they do.
So after I casted that, we brought that with us to the interview with Tim Fasano in the Cigar Factory. He saw that for the first time.
What did he think of the
He was very impressed. He said, this is the real deal.
There is a place, nestled in the rolling farmland of southern Middle Tennessee. A home constructed in 1837, nearly lost to the ravages of war. Saved by a servant and a Confederate general. A place where families loved and lost. If walls could talk, what stories could be told? If a place, a home, can feel love, loss, pain, surely this is one of those places. Nearby is a more recent structure, and inside are the stories of heroes and heroines, stories of battles won and lost, stories of sacrifices made by the people of its native soil. A place that will tell the true and complete story of the Southland and the war fought for its freedom. From the causes that led to the conflict to the modern-day struggles to protect Southern history. Historic Elm Springs and the Confederate Museum at Elm Springs are the general headquarters for the Sons of Confederate Veterans. A place where the story of the Southland and its historic struggle is preserved and told. Come and discover your history.
Nearly 250 years after the first documented Bigfoot sighting in Natchez, Mississippi, the Patterson-Gimlin film was released to the public. Shot by Roger Patterson, the 16mm black and white film captured the imagination of the world, and the popularity of Bigfoot began to grow. In this episode of History Highway, we have learned from a historical perspective that the hairy creature we call Bigfoot has been sighted on many occasions. On our next episode, we will visit with Martin Groves, who has written a book entitled A Trace of Death, Beast Between the Rivers. This is a personal account of a hunting trip gone wrong, when he and a friend were confronted by Bigfoot and some dogmen.
My crew keeps me on the road from episode to episode, 'cause they all know I got a million stories to tell. If I'm no dinosaur, it's cool to explore what makes a country great and put the crack in the Liberty Bell. So take a ride down the history highway. We're headed back to the days of old. So take a ride down the history highway. I got the pedal to the metal and I'm letting this Chevy roll. I got the pedal to the metal